Joining me now is New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, a member of the House Ways and Means and Science and Space and Technology Committees. Congresswoman, it's good to see you. You and many others in the Republican Party have made a major issue of the open border, and we don't know who's coming through now for 4 years, and now we see the results of that. This person came through the border in 2021 and has now raped this 13-year-old girl.
Yes, Maria, this is a total tragedy and totally doesn't need to happen. The Democrats refuse to do anything about the border. Joe Biden knows this is a huge problem. The American people are talking about it in all these races, whether it's the presidential race in swing states, and especially in my own area of upstate New York, where most of my district is the northern border of New York, where I actually just met yesterday with some Border Patrol agents and others and talked with them on the phone about what's going on and how the system is so overstressed. And the Biden administration is doing nothing to give them the tools they need to keep our border safe. They're so overwhelmed that they can't really keep these illegals from getting into the border. And as you know, Maria, the cartels are controlling the border, and they're letting every kind of person in here, violent criminals, people who have committed crimes in their country of origin, and they're being forced to let them go because of a lot of the reason is because of New York laws. The Green Light Law passed in 2019 under Governor Cuomo, where they allow illegal immigrants to get licenses and special protections as aliens in the state of New York, which allows them to go anywhere in the country. And it also prevents ICE from being able to detain these people within a certain amount of time. And that's why we had this horrible situation with Laken Riley. The New York Police Department was forced to let this criminal alien go with ties to a gang. He got to Georgia, killed Laken Riley. And that's what you're seeing in New York City with this tragic incident of a rape of a 13-year-old girl, actually, injury to two young children, a boy and a girl. Right. It's going to continue to happen, Maria. These are going to be like smash and grabs until we do something with the border. It is affecting us, our security. It's under siege, along with the economic consequences in New York, where we've seen over $3.5 billion in new taxes in the last 2 years to pay for illegal immigrants. This is it's out of control, and it's going to have a very scary effect. 9/11 is going to look like a non-incident compared to what's going to happen in the future.
Well, I don't understand why these are not the top stories on most of the media right now. I mean, it's unbelievable to me that the mainstream media doesn't even report this stuff. Then we've got the illegal migrant charged with murdering a mother of 5, Rachel Morin. He's set to be extradited to her home state of Maryland today. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is denying any responsibility for Rachel's murder. Watch this.
What do you say to critics who blame the administration for allowing something like this to happen? Yeah, obviously, this is something that you hear in right-wing media all the time.
Jim, first and foremost, of course, our hearts break for the children, the family, the loved ones, the friends of the individual who was murdered, the woman, the mother. Jim, a criminal is responsible for the criminal act.
Yeah, her name is Rachel Morin. Rachel's mom is slamming Mayorkas for referring to her daughter as an individual, also saying that the Biden administration never reached out to the family, Congresswoman.
Well, there is a criminal involved in this, and it's from Joe Biden to Alejandro Mayorkas. We've called for the removal, the impeachment of both of them in the House because of their dereliction of duty and completely undermining our U.S. Constitution. The president has had the power all along to take care of the border, and he refuses to do that. Speaker Mike Johnson pointed out the exact section where he had the power, very powerful and very strong section where he can literally shut the border down any day he wants. But, they continue to blame the Republicans for all this. They project, it's the Republicans who did nothing. We have had H.R. 2 on the floor twice. The original version of it, that's the most strongest border bill we've ever put out in American history. We amended it to make it a little more amenable to those who didn't like certain parts of it, in swing districts and other areas, to a second version of H.R. 2 that the Democrats rejected. Yeah. And now Joe Biden refuses to do anything. And by the way, Maria, remember I've told you this. I used to be cynically saying, are the Democrats trying to register voters? Oh, well, guess what? We know they are. Susan Rice, former President Obama's key advisor is heading up the operation of tasking our federal agencies to actually get votes from illegal immigrants, get those ballots in the box. And once they're cast, we can't go back and determine if that ballot was an illegal immigrant or not. And I wouldn't be surprised, Maria, and this is not a conspiracy theory. It is actually out there in a memo from Susan Rice. I would not be surprised if somehow these millions of illegal immigrants somehow are casting votes in the swing states to make sure that Joe Biden wins this election, because we know that President Trump is winning on policy. We know that Joe Biden, as you guys alluded to earlier, is not going to get through this debate. It's going to be a disaster. And this is what the Democrats are going to do. It's going to be the same way that he won in 2020. They're going to prime the pump using our resources this time, our own federal tax dollars, not Mark Zuckerberg's money that was coming in from Facebook before.
Hold on, because an illegal voting in American election is illegal. You're not allowed to vote if you're not a citizen. Are you saying you have proof that the Democrats are trying to recruit illegals, migrants, to vote in our presidential election? Is that what you just said?
There is a memo from Susan Rice that says we've got to figure out how we're going to get these illegal immigrants. It's going to be challenging to teach them how to make sure we get their votes in the ballot. They don't say whether they're going to make them citizens first or not.
Unbelievable.
And Maria, our Constitution, our New York Constitution as well, it was the federal Constitution, requires citizenship. Why do we have to pass laws with the Democrats to say that you have to prove your citizenship in order to vote? Right now, you don't even need an ID. I voted yesterday in early voting for myself in my primary on June 25th. You know, I walked in with my license, and the people at the Board of Elections like, oh, don't put that license out, like it was a poisonous snake.
Right.
Almost 90% of people across all demographics, including Democrats, require and care about making sure one citizen, one vote, and that we have a valid ID so we don't undermine the votes. It's insane what we're doing. We have got to have citizenship, and we have to have voter ID.
And by the way, my AG Merrick Garland has vowed to stop voter ID. He does not want voter ID. And you have to ask yourself, why not? But we reported recently, guys, I'm here with Jonathan Fahey and Mahak. Look, we reported recently that there were papers that were found at the border, and they basically gave notes to the migrants, and then they said, don't forget to vote for Joe Biden. So what do you think about that, Jonathan? You worked at ICE.
Well, certainly everything this administration and the Democratic Party does is to at least make it, if somebody wants to vote illegally, they want to make it as easy as possible for them, even if they don't explicitly say it. And you do wonder with Merrick Garland, it's fighting voter ID. You know, what could the possible reason for that be other than to make it, again, make voter fraud easier? I can't think of any other reason. They always have this fake hypothetical person that doesn't have an ID, that's 100 years old. But why not just get that person an ID? But going back to Mayorkas, what I find it most disturbing is when he talks about the murderer of Miss Morin, is that he says he's a criminal, but Mayorkas and Biden are entrusted to enforce the law, and they not only refuse to enforce the immigration law, they actively thwart it, and it's just so disgusting that this is going on, and we're going to have more of these, not less of these.
Mahak.
Well, look, the big question of the day, and we continue to ask this, is why is Biden not addressing what's happening? And he's not going to address his failed policies because Biden is banking on not running a fair election. And you have to see it state after state. We don't have consistent voter ID laws. In Ohio, you can take your bank account statements and the address on it to show where you live. And that's how you show proof. If we don't have proof and Congress isn't passing laws, we're going to have a huge issue. And Laura Trump was criticized for saying prosecute individuals who try and conduct fraud in voting. That's insane. We should prosecute them.
Congresswoman, you're an elected official. Can you do anything about this?
Well, Maria, after what I went through in 2020, I founded the Election Integrity Caucus. We have been sounding the alarm on this since 2021 when Biden passed the executive order tasking the agencies to make sure they get these ballots in the box. A complete violation of the Hatch Act, by the way. The executive branch members have to work on their mission, not on political harvesting of votes. And they're exactly right. This is the only way they can win. They're only going to win on process and undermining it, not on policy. That's why we've got to be on top of the process. Laura Trump and Michael Whatley at RNC are working on this, and we're going to make sure we have make voting great again this year. It's going to be really important everyone gets out.
All right. Thanks very much, Congresswoman. We so appreciate your time this
Thank
morning.
you.
Claudia Tenney. Stay with us. We'll be right back.